Humans, if there's one self-evident trait in humans, it's that they always need a scapegoat. As far back as recorded history, we've always needed a scapegoat. We've always needed someone or something tangible, relatively tangible, to push all accountability, self-awareness, introspection, push all of that onto something else, someone else, some either incredibly tangible concept or nebulously vacuous and just cosmic bullshit. I'm trying to find the words to even explain. Just think of all the most woo-woo shit you hear every day that people blame their problems on. In the attempt to preserve polite society, we shame people, we exile them, we shun them. You think cancel culture and social media outrage just started, what, when fucking Twitter came around? Twitter is a dumpster. Like, was a mistake, absolutely. But at the same time, it just shows the absolute debauchery that is the human species. That didn't start 10 years ago. If fucking 16th century peasants had Twitter, I guarantee you, like, what they're saying and what we're saying would be exactly the same. It's just the language and the grammar. That's the only thing that changes. But they'd be saying the exact same things we are about the people we hate. The people, or not even the people we hate. Fuck that. In fact, I don't even use Twitter. Why am I saying we? But just in general. You know, the people deemed as undesirable by the mob. And if you notice, if you're a drug addict, if people know you as a drug addict, it's so easy for them to point out that at least I'm not like them. At least I got my shit together. At least I'm not, shooting up or snorting or fucking smoking or drinking, even though they are. Literally, like, especially within the age group of like 15 to like late 30s, 40s, everyone's doing drugs. Do not be fooled. Especially nowadays, every fucking person is doing drugs. But not many people carry the stigma of drug addict. These drugs start out as such a fun way to connect with people, have new experiences, you name it. Basically just romanticizing peer pressure. It's all well and good until you can't keep up with your own intake. The people you were doing it with are no longer around, but your addiction is. And that has to be fulfilled. I think I can only speak to my experience with it. I've never really done any hard drugs. Never. I'm not an addictive personality type. Not for anything, really. Not drugs, women, fuck even food. I have been fat. I'm still fat right now, but I am kind of getting my shit together. Started working out again. But even then, there's never anything I could say that I was addicted to in that sense. I was a stoner for quite a while. But when I stopped, whether or not it was voluntary, combining with how mentally fucked I was at the time, it was too easy to point to the marijuana. It was so, like, If you ever want to feel like a lab rat as a human being, go see a psychiatrist. No joke. If you want to feel like a fucking hamster in a fucking glass box, go see a psychiatrist. In fact, go get admitted and see several psychiatrists. I think more people need to go get admitted in a psychiatric facility or even rehab so they can truly understand what the fuck reality is. Reality is policed heavily. This reality of ours is policed heavily on so many different levels. You have the conventional police, right? Fucking swine. You have the economic police, the banks. You have the social police. Rather, no, you have the religious police, the fucking degenerate clergy. Then you have the mental police, the therapists and the psychiatrists. Like, I don't go as hard on therapists, even though they are still part of the same, they're like a tentacle on the fucking beast. Psychiatrists are the fucking devil. Like, you have never found a profession that can intellectualize their own narcissism better than psychiatrists. But even so, the worst police out of all the police that exist are the social ones. And you don't even know what they look like. They look like everybody. Because they are everybody. They're the police that we make up. The idea of who we should represent one another to. And so it's very easy to see somebody who's evidently a drug addict and homeless. Or not even homeless, but just hearing that somebody had an incident with drugs. This isn't to say that they're like some... I obviously don't advocate for drugs. But at the same time, it's very arbitrary what we define as drugs in this reality. It's so evident how highly people think of the idea of themselves. And if you ever thought you had friends before, you definitely know whether or not you have friends after. It doesn't even have to be drugs. Heck, even it can just be a mental health crisis. Like, you could be panicking, it could be an anxiety attack, it could be a psychotic episode. That kind of experience is the most fulfilling experience in the entire of reality. Because you realize it all doesn't make fucking sense. You realize all these social conventions are actually bullshit. Friendship is actually bullshit. Right? You would like to think that how you are to other people is how they'll be to you. But it's never like that. 9 times out of 10, your friends are only there out of geographical convenience. Literally just because you're in the same vicinity and you see each other all the time. That's why people decide to be friends. Because if you have genuine connections with people, you could literally meet them after 5 years and keep a conversation going for hours, like you met him last week or something. It's only after you've gone through those kinds of tribulations that you realize people really aren't actually as nice as they pretend to be at all. They're only as nice as they need to be to craft a bullshit image of themselves. It's all well and good to shun the drug addict, to to tell the kids don't be like them, even though they're already born. It's all well and good to tell them all that shit. But you will prolong their suffering here as long as fucking possible. Because think about it. If drug addicts weren't around, this reality would create drug addicts anyways. You have a vested interest in keeping these people around just to feel better about your own bullshit reasons to keep this psychosis going. If these drug addicts started disappearing, you'd see a lot of people feigning concern, right? Compassion. But it's all hollow. The most dangerous thing about rehab or a psychiatric facility, it's not even the side effects from the medications that even the fucking psychiatrists don't know how that, like, they pretend to know. They are just another huge fucking tentacle of the pharmaceutical industry. If it wasn't already obvious, right? It's not that. It's the fact that at any given time they can just say, you're not ready to leave. You're gonna stay for a few more months. And if your family, if your guardians agree, what the fuck are you gonna do? You, if you somehow don't keep your mind in check in this freak show, the next step is for you to be declared legally dead. The moment somebody says you're not thinking straight, you're not taking your meds, you're not functioning the way you should be, you can be declared legally dead. And you can have other people speaking for you and spinning your life around for you without you even experiencing your own life. And oh, God forbid you try and exit without anyone else's approval except your own. And I hate how when I hear people talk about this kind of stuff, they have to always preface it with, they're not advocating for it. They themselves are not advocating for it. Neither am I, obviously. But it's psychotic. How do you drag people into such misery and fucking just horror stories? There are people who are living just straight up horror stories out here. And instead of you wanting for them to choose their own life for them, you double down and you triple down and you say, it's never the answer. There's always a light at the end of the blah, blah, blah. Like, they'd rather you be here tortured, literally tortured, just to say that they were there when you were tortured and how bad they felt, before they ever actually give you any sort of meaningful help. If you're fighting this kind of addiction right now, keep fighting it. Because it's just an addiction to this reality. No matter how numb you get, no matter how much it pacifies the horrible thoughts, the only medicine in this reality is facing this reality. Once you hit that constant, you can at least attain some level of autonomy. But I look at the people that are hell bent on keeping and it's so funny because if you talk about antinatalism, misanthropy, just in general disdain for society, or even just asking why people just follow these fucked up rules and conventions when even they don't understand why. They tell you to go kill yourself. They're like, oh, well, why don't you go ahead and do it then? But if people actually started doing it then, you think they'd just be like, haha, they finally... No. They would start freaking the fuck out. Because part of them, definitely, if somebody tells you to go kill yourself, especially one of these faceless fucking profiles, they want to do it way more than you would ever want to do it. They just want to see somebody else jump off the fucking cliff. Either that, or they'll actually show how much of a bitch they are. Don't ever take somebody seriously when they say, if you hate this reality, why don't you just fucking die then? They are the exemplary, they are the quintessential example of a fucking idiot. Because they're the same ones. They're the same ones that always say, I didn't see it coming. He was so happy. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Like, you didn't know shit. You didn't see shit. Or you saw it or you just ignored it. If there's one thing I can say, don't despair about this reality. You are here at the greatest point in human history where you can finally watch it all burn itself to the ground. Stick around for that. If anything, stick around for that. Right? You don't even need to participate in it. Just learn to live by your means and learn yourself and your limits. And just find a good spot, because that's all I'm doing. Just find a good spot, kick your feet back, and enjoy it. Why not? They thought we'd be here to propagate this bullshit, but no. We're here to enjoy it burn to the fucking ground. And why not? Don't despair about this life. Really. Because it's indifferent to you. But I think you can actually make a difference. You can. You just have to find a good spot and some good snacks. Please keep liking, please keep subscribing, and please just come if this video made you feel some type of way, whatever kind of way, please just let me know. Thanks.